Ladies, mamas, aunties, people taking care of melanated babies, do I have your attention? You have got to get into Proudly. Proudly is an affordable baby care company that is made specially for melanated babies. With 3 boys of my own, I know the struggle of making sure that what we use is safe for our kids. Our babies are more prone to skin concerns such as general dryness, eczema, and acne. Some common baby products that are generally recognized as safe for babies may still trigger these skin conditions in our melanated babies. We don't have to worry about that with Proudly. With gentle, cleaner, plant-based ingredients studied and selected by a Black dermatologist, Proudly has done their research and made sure there's absolutely no sketchy stuff. That means no synthetic fragrances, parabens, phthalates, PEGs, ever. Now we're jumping into all things Mama's Den, but before we do, I've got something super exciting to share with you guys. Our friends at Proudly have a special Mama's Den code because they know our babies are special. Right now, if you shop at Proudly.com, spend $50 and use the code BLACKLOVE, all one word, you will get 20% off your order. This is a treat just for our Mama's Den community, and y'all, I know you're going to love being a part of the Proudly family. Save 20% off your $50 order on Proudly.com with our code BLACKLOVE. All right, mamas, let's talk. Well, welcome to the Mama's Den. Happy Monday morning to our mama listeners and our non-mama listeners. Anybody listening, we appreciate you. We have a special guest today. Well, first we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Cody Lane Oliver. Ashley's, is that a burp? Or...
I was trying to swallow my burp. Go ahead.
I'm Cody.
Nobody should be judgmental, Felicia. Let Cody do her intro.
Right, let her have her bodily functions. Okay, we got kids. I'm Cody Lane Oliver. I am a mama of 3 boys, twin 3-year-olds, and a 5-year-old. Ashley.
I'm Ashley Serrano-Cochia. I'm a mother of 4 beautiful daughters, 13, 5, 4, and 9 months.
Surprise. She said that quick.
I know.
Good job,
How'd you remember
Ashley?
that? I'm Felicia Latour. I'm a mama of 2. I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Hey, and we have a special guest today.
Wait, Melanie's not here today.
Yeah, that's true.
So we have a special guest today.
And I'm Charisse Sims, and I'm a mama to 6.
And an
I
educator.
can't tell you their ages.
Yeah, you can, girl. Come on.
12, 11, 9, 6. She's going to be 7 on Saturday.
Okay.
And then twin 4-year-olds.
Hey, that was easy.
Wow.
I love it.
It's
And
amazing.
an educator and an all-around also a PBS learning
Early
champion.
learning champion.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the host of Parenting for the Culture on the Black Love Podcast Network. All of that said, Charisse, we brought you here today because we need answers. Okay?
Okay.
I need answers. Y'all, I be texting Charisse videos of my children's behavior.
She does.
Like, is this normal?
And then she texts me reenactments of her like, this is what you need to do.
I did that. I was like,
And then
Eden,
I'm
come
like-
here. We going to role play.
And then I'm like, Charisse, I did that already. They're still hitting. But so yes, we were having this conversation about conscious parenting and gentle parenting, the differences. So we're looking to you as our expert, but also as a mama of 100 people. We all consider ourselves conscious, gentle parenters. But we also realize we don't know the exact difference between the two, right? And that it's hard sometimes. So would you...
Is this what you brought me on to tell you the difference between the two?
Yeah.
No. We got questions, baby.
We have questions.
You could've
We
texted
got
me
questions.
then.
Would you say that there is a big difference or like, nah?
This is what I'll say. I don't honestly know.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
know. There's so many different things. Like people are like, can you speak out of purposeful parenting? Can you do intentional parenting?
You should say yes to all of
so
it.
there's like, I
For
do.
the record.
And then I'm
Good,
just like,
good.
Google purposeful parenting.
Good.
To me, it's all the same. There's like gentle, purposeful, conscious, intentional,
Yeah.
positive, right? There's literally 50 names for parenting. But I was just a teacher. I was a teacher who worked with children. So I had a certain way of speaking with children. I had a certain understanding of children that gave me more patience for children. And then, having the preschool, all of my children grew up with me in the school. So I spoke to them the same way I would speak to other children. And there were many times that I'd be like, y'all so lucky that you go to school with me because I want to handle this so differently, but I can't because I can't even risk a child going home and being like, Miss Charisse popped so-and-so. Like, even if it's my
Popped
own
her
kid.
own child.
Yeah.
So so I became a parent as a teacher. You know
That's
what I mean? Like a
interesting.
teacher parent.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a gentle parent or conscious parent.
Yeah.
But as a person, I'm a conscious person.
Yeah.
Always trying to think about like, why does this trigger me?
Right.
Let me take a moment so I can respond versus react. But that's a practice that I do outside of parenting that I use in parenting. So I don't necessarily know all the differences. I just think it's all like trying to parent your child positively and like nurture them, the whole child. Like not just make sure they know their ABCs and their 1, 2, 3s, but also making sure that they identify their feelings, right? Like I was trained in needs-based languaging. So teaching children to identify what their needs are and then how to communicate their needs, because of the amount of studies that talk about it doesn't matter how smart a person is. They've literally done studies where they find you could have a high IQ and someone else could have a way lower IQ. But if the person with the lower IQ has the ability to recognize and articulate their needs, they are going to do better in school, in relationships, in life than the person with the higher IQ.
Yep.
So we're in a culture where we focus so much, or have been focused so much on like the IQ and teaching all the children all the academics, that we don't nurture the social, emotional, just self-development. And so I think when we think about gentle parenting, conscious parenting, positive parenting, I think all of those things are more invested in focusing on the child holistically than just do this is what you do and this is what you
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah. And empowering children because they're just tiny humans.
I think too, this is Cody, that I was having this conversation with someone last week about like the influx of conversation around this. And especially, and look, I was going to say, especially with Black people, I don't talk to a lot of white parents. So I don't know if that same conversation is happening. But we were talking about it from the standpoint of, it's partially wanting to do differently than our parents. Because those of us that were whooped or whatever, or were told, like, be seen and not heard, all that stuff. Being frustrated with that and wanting to do different. And she brought it up from a space of like liberation, like liberated parenting, and like both wanting to raise free children, but also our parents, grandparents, etc., the generational lack of freedom.
Yeah.
Right? Freedom from the standpoint of like you have to be mindful still to this day, but differently. Decades ago, you have to be mindful of how other people perceive you, and going into white versus colored, all these things that they had to think about. That like, all right, I'm definitely gonna whoop my child if I want to save their life. Right.
Yeah.
And so sort of parenting from a space of liberation and not having to look at it that way, and undoing some of the patterns that led to that to begin with. And so that's, I think, for me, a big part of the reasoning. Not that I thought of it as consciously as that until last week, but certainly wanting to raise children who are free to be themselves, to think for themselves, to articulate their feelings, things that like as an adult I struggle with.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
like thriving versus, like surviving.
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about that on this episode before, though, about like that's like post-traumatic slave syndrome, basically.
Absolutely.
Where our parents and before them, they're all parenting from a survival mechanism rooted in slavery. And I do think a lot of white parents have the luxury of, previously, before now, I'm not saying our generation, but, before, of raising their children in a different way. But also, because I grew up in the hood, there's also like a poverty that transcends all race. You know what I mean? A way, an aggressive way of parenting your children because it's, lack of resources, survival, et cetera, et cetera. But I do want to give credit to my mom and her friends because I think my mom tried to change that. Yeah. And then now but it's funny because it's going to happen to us. When you are raising your children to be conscious, they are going to then challenge you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's what my mom always says. Yeah, she's always like, now. I wish I would have told you to shut up. Because I'm always like, but my mom is dope because she will send me articles. She sends me books. Like she really started this train of like, and I remember I never got whooped, but my little brother did. And she regrets it to this day. And she didn't whip him a lot, but he got a couple whippings. And I remember when I had a mirror, she sent me articles and she's like, I don't care what I did. Don't do what I did. Do this. She was like, I want you to be better than me. And because of that, I've always been that way. And then now my kids challenge me, the mirror should be like, but you said, and I'm like, you're right. I did. It's very humbling to apologize to your children, to acknowledge when you're wrong, but you really turn into like a different person. I feel. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like you said it too. Like you're already a conscious person, so you naturally put that within your parenting,
right?
You know, that was the biggest thing for me, is like the more that I worked on myself, the more that I got just real with myself and wanted to like when I look in the mirror, the things that I see that I want to change, naturally it just, your kids are already like that.
Yep.
But I learned a lot about parenting through so Peace and Zen are in 2 different schools, but their preschool, like the way that they I feel like it's low-key a part of parenting, you know, like being a teacher, you know, but the way that they just teach the kids how to communicate, I'm like, oh, I did not learn that when I was younger. So even as simple as like teaching the other kids, like, you're in my space, or I need a moment. And I literally would be like, well, that's the language that they're speaking to me, so let me do that to them. So now if like mommy's overwhelmed, it's like, you guys, I need a moment. You're in my space. You in my bubble right now. But they know what it is. And it's not like when my mom was younger, single mom of 3, was just like, get out, like just scream. So you like, shit, like what did I do wrong? I just wanted to come and give you a hug. But she didn't know how to say, you know, I'm overwhelmed. Like she didn't know how to use her words. So, but it makes the biggest difference, because now when I tell my kids, oh, I need a moment, they don't feel like they're walking on eggshells. It's like, okay, mom, you good now? Because now we need that hug, or we need whatever it is. But the more I work on myself, the more I feel like I tap more into this conscious.
Yeah. That's a huge thing though. You said a couple things that are like really major to me. One, the whole like telling your children how you feel. And I do that with my children all the time. I think I was telling you, my children, like they know when I'm on my period. They know when I'm PMSing. Like they know my cycle. They know when I'm hormonal. They'll even ask me sometimes, are you frustrated because you're hormonal right now? Or are you mad at something? And I'll even tell
I will
them,
lose
like,
my shit if my boys ask me that. I will just be like, don't worry about it.
We went to a public restroom and Daniel yells through the stall, "Mommy, is your vagina bleeding?"
Zen just did that the other day, and I was like, baby.
I was like, yes, it is. Everybody, I'm on my period. Now we all know. Can we move on with our day? But I'll tell them too. Sometimes I'll talk and I'm frustrated. So I sound frustrated and I'll tell them, I know you hear that I'm frustrated right now. I want you to know that it's not you, but I am frustrated and I'm going to have to take a moment after I get y'all situated. But the thing that you also talked about was the school. Yeah. And that's one thing that has been a part of my journey, is like, I've worked for these very wealthy, prestigious, elite private schools. And a part of their program is parent development. It's that parents have to come in on a monthly basis and take these workshops and learn the language and learn the philosophy and learn the development. And so what we're doing at the school is the same thing the parents are doing at the house. And I love that. I love the idea, but it makes me sad because the access is not there for all people. Right. Whether that's by color or by class, like economic class. Parents who work 9 to 5 don't have time to come in at 3 for a 2-hour professional development. Not. Right. They also don't have the funds. Like, I've worked at schools where tuition was like $4,000 a month, right? Even at that school at $4,000 a month, and most people don't realize this, like, funds are tight. I don't care what school you're at and how much tuition is. Funds are tight. Depending on where you're located, if you're in Inglewood, rent for a school is $4,000 a month. If you in Santa Monica, rent for the same size building is $25,000 a month. Right. So when tuition is more in Santa Monica, you're still just barely making ends meet. And what's my point with that? I don't know. But it's like parents that have less money and these schools that have less money, they have less access to these resources that you were talking about that help develop themselves. And aside from the resources and even learning, like myself included, I've learned about these things for years. I've practiced them for years, especially during COVID. Backstory, my father-in-law suffered a stroke. We moved in, my in-laws with us. And so we have been just inundated like with things to do and no time. And very little support. Like I've never had as little support as I have now. And there are so many more days where I just don't have the emotional mental capacity to show up the way I want to. And I'm like, I need a break. I need to check out. And so when I think about that, like when we think about classes, like it's not just about resources. It's about like, you don't have the capacity. You tired. And how can you tap into like that amount of patience when you're tired all the time? It's hard.
No, that's true.
So one way is to listen to podcasts like Mama Sin and Parenting for the Culture, or if you know Charisse, then ask her questions and text her at all hours of the night. Hey, it's Cody, and thanks for listening to the Mama's Den. Now, y'all know Black is beautiful, Black is love. It can be seen 365 days a year, 24/7, and mamas know Target is here for all of it. Black Beyond Measure is Target's year-round campaign that celebrates and elevates the spectrum of Black love and success. From the multitude of commitments and investments in the Black community to supporting HBCU students and uplifting Black entrepreneurs. Shop Black-owned or founded brands at Target, from home decor and candles to beauty, wellness products, and so much more. Surround yourself in joy and amplify your Black love with the help of the Black-owned and founded brands at Target every day. Visit target.com/blackbeyondmeasure to learn more. So I'm going to use myself and my situation as like an example because I do want, if possible, I need help, guys. I'll say two things. I also want to talk about the word respect and like how to teach respect to kids when we're also teaching them to speak their minds and to, you know, but like mine are just really, they're not listening. They're pushing, pulling, unfortunately lately hitting, more me than anyone else. And I'm really, things that we've talked about, right, has been like, I'm trying not to say names too, but, you know, if I've given them like a lot of to do, or I've selected dinner and we're eating and we're doing this, like they may feel like they don't have control over anything. Like control is a word that, you know, you've used with me. And so, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out resources or processes of thinking to help with this, with the physical aspect of how they're behaving. What Ashley
I'm
with the eye roll?
Ashley does wear her emotions on her face.
Yeah,
but
so
it wasn't a neck roll. You have to learn to read my faces, though, girl. You can't just call out my face and assign it an emotion.
Well, give me. I don't speak that language. Everyone is saying, take the note.
I was deeply interested.
Take the note.
I'm processing what you're saying. I'm thinking. I'm thinking it.
Like
I'm a visual person, so like when you're talking, I'm visualizing them hitting you.
I'm gonna say I honestly feel helpless a lot of the time. Like I stand there and I'm just like, there's nothing for me to take away. I've already taken away all the things, or we aren't gonna do nothing, you know? And so I'm just like, you can't, I won't let you hit me. You know, like I'm holding arms. I won't let you hit me. And he's still doing it, or he's like, let go of me, you know? And it's like, you let go of me though.
I was gonna ask you, when the hitting, is it they're playing with you, hitting you, or when they're upset?
When they're upset.
Okay. Do they hit each other or just hit you?
There's one in particular, and yes, he has less frequently hit someone else.
Do you ever get hit back?
And maybe yes. Tommy's very like, if your brother hits you, you can hit him back, whatever.
Good.
And so yes, but that happens way less. But we're talking about like hitting, or so we have a whole magnetiles situation.
Oh god.
Right? They have so many magnetiles, and they're often fighting over them, or one will build something and then the other one will take one thing away.
Girl.
And then they'll kick it and the whole thing is gone. So yeah, I don't know what to do with that behavior. And I told the school as a means of, because I talked to someone else who helps us sometimes, and she was like, hitting is learned behavior. Oh. And I'm like, okay, that's what she said. She said hitting is learned.
I don't believe that's
okay,
true.
let's go.
I don't believe that.
Because you don't hit your kids.
No, I don't.
But like if another kid hits them or something.
Right, but I'm like, okay,
that's not true.
My immediate thought was maybe it's something they're seeing at school. So I told the school, and they were like, well, we haven't seen it here, but we'll make sure we read, hitting books.
No, you have to think about the fact that like children, especially your twins are 3.
Yeah.
So they're young. I talked about this on my last episode, was impulse control. And like impulse control happens in the front part of the brain that is not fully developed until 25. 25. Right. So at 3, there's like very little impulse control.
25.
And I even for myself, 25. Like if I'm
like that?
Yeah,
Girl,
25. That's a long time. 3 years old isn't even like barely a percentage of that time.
Which is crazy why they let 18-year-olds and 21-year-olds drive, vote,
and drink.
So crazy. Yeah. So when we think about like the fact that they have little impulse control, I know if I get pissed off, sometimes I want to hit.
Like, I'm like, this sounds normal to me.
True.
Like,
Right.
I know not to, right? But if I could, if it was acceptable, there are probably times that I want to hit somebody or something.
It
or
is.
like,
no,
you
I
slam
think
your hand
kids are just like us,
so
except
I think that's
without
a natural reaction.
so
but if you
too.
have no impulse control and you don't have like, yes,
and you're
they
not
can
getting
talk,
your way.
but they don't have a great vocabulary. They're not super articulate, not your children in particular, but 3-year-olds in general. Like they just started talking a year ago.
He's gonna grow out of it. They're gonna grow out of it.
So you think it's truly like just be consistent. It's a phase.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Justin. Yeah. Yes. I'm like, that's how I feel. When Zen starts tripping like that, I literally have to be like as frustrating as it can be, it's like he's going through something. He's going to come out of this phase. He's not going to hit people forever. Like, he's being 3. And sometimes I pivoted to where, like, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Like, not in a positive way. But it's like
reality.
He's functioning how he's supposed to
But
function.
it is positive.
You know?
Like, imagine if when we went into labor and we start having contractions and we're like, oh shit, what's wrong with me? Like, you know, your body, it's like, painful and it sucks, but your body's doing what it's supposed to do to be able to get the baby out. Same thing with our children. Like, they do stuff that's challenging, but it is developmentally appropriate and technically a good thing. Like, it's a sign that they're developing the way they should. I will say with hitting, like, not all kids hit, right? Some do more than others. Matilda hits. Oh Lord, Matilda.
Matilda. Oh yeah, she was hitting the other day when I was there.
Oh, Matilda's new thing is shut up.
Oh Lord.
I really, that is learned. I don't know where she learned it, but she loves it and she yells it.
She loves
very
it.
Loud. She loves it. And I asked her, I was like, do you feel the teacher in me? I'm like, do you feel powerful when you say that? She was like, yes. Shut up. Okay. And I want to be like, I'm also powerful, young lady. So better watch yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the process of waiting for them to come out of that phase, you do give them the words to express what they're feeling. You know, like you do have to give them tools in the meantime so that that's not their means of communicating what they're feeling or meeting their needs. And then there is the thought or idea, like, again, with Daniel and Matilda, my twins, and by the way, I'm going to do some research about twins. Like, mine for sure have developmental delays. And so with Matilda, she's my first 4-year-old. She's probably the most challenging 4-year-old I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
Of like hundreds of kids that I've worked with. And so for her hitting and her yelling shut up and her doing all the different things Matilda does. She tried to climb out her front window yesterday, like butt naked, popped the screen out and everything.
She was almost gone. Yeah.
So she, you know, with her, it's not just developmental. Like, it's not just, oh, this is a phase, she'll grow out of it. With her, she needs more tools.
Yeah.
And with her, I actually thought about you with her, like, I don't want to be the one to give her those tools. Even though I've worked with other children, I am at my capacity. I have 6 children. I work. There's too much. I don't necessarily have the patience to sit with her and build the tools. And like, we'll always tell people, build the tools outside of the moment so you can use them inside of the moment. Sometimes with Matilda, it almost feels like there is no outside of the moment.
That's how I feel.
And where am I supposed to build these tools? So for that reason, I'm like, oh, you have to go somewhere else.
Outsource.
So that's good. That's a pro of them going to school.
But she needs more than school. Because I think, I do think that her school, like, that's my fear with school. And it's all relative. In school, you have 16 kids in a class. Who has the time to sit there and teach tools for an actual, like, if you have a delay in something, school's not necessarily the place. Yes, they can build them. Yes, you mimic socially. So you get more of like, oh, that's how 4-year-olds act. So she'll get more of that, of like, oh, no one else is yelling, shut up. And no one else is climbing out of windows. Maybe this isn't normal. And that's another thing with twins too. Like, these twins be pumping each other up.
Yeah, they do.
You'd be like, no, you have a singleton. You'd be like, that's not safe. And they're like, okay. You have a twin. You're like, that's not safe. They're like, this is safe, right? Yes, do it. They got a hype man 24/7.
Yep. What? Yep. That's how my girls are. They're not even twins. Like, well, they'll just be sitting in their bed. And then I'll hear Asia be like, she told me to do it.
Oh my God. She told me. He told me. I hate those words.
Every night that we go through the same thing.
Jump out the window.
We have to separate them. Like, they want to sleep together in the same bed. Because I don't know why. And they're like attached to each other. And so at night, if we need them to go to sleep, we have to put them in separate beds and they get so upset. But it's like, we try to give them a chance, you know, like Chia will be like, okay, I'm going to lay you down. And I'm the type of person, I always tell people, you don't trust your kids. They be lying. Yeah. Well, I know I was a kid and I used to lie. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't trust but for the same reason. I'm always talking about that frontal lobe thing with people, like, their brain ain't even developed. I'm not arguing with you. But like, he'll be like, let's just give him a chance. And I'm like, okay, fine. Because 5 minutes from now, he'll put them in there and then they're sitting up. We see them through the little camera, talking, like playing games, hiding books underneath their pillows, like just all sorts of like, why are you doing this? Like kicking the bunk bed top, like kicking the other person, like putting their feet through the thing. And it's just like, no. And then we'll go in there and I see Azara told me to play. And I'm always like, okay, but if someone tells you to do something you're not supposed to do, you need to be able to say no. So like we're going through that too. Like, you can't keep just blaming her for your behavior. You have to take some accountability, even though you're only 4, but like, okay. And then Azara, I'm like, you're about to be 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need to stop leading your sister down the wrong path. Stop trying to tell her to do this, because you know she's going to listen to you. It's very frustrating. I don't know. I feel like with you, the same way that how do you get outside the moment with the tools? It's really hard, because when you're with your kids all day homeschooling, there's never a time.
I think that's something that we don't talk about enough, is like, for some reason we think we're supposed to do all the things.
Right.
And so we don't seek support when we can. They have services that will come to your home that's covered by insurance. It's not like you don't have to be super rich to be able to get these resources. They have behavioral resources where they will come to your house and work with the child a few hours a week. They even have services where they'll come to the house, work with the child, and then work with the siblings, because it affects the siblings.
So literally, what do I Google for this? Because I've been thinking about this a lot. Is it like
Google it. I would ask your
Okay.
doctor,
Got
doctor under
Okay.
your insurance, who can direct you to whoever works with you.
And it's
I'll
a
take
behavioral
it.
therapist.
Yeah.
I swear,
Yeah.
I stand there while he's like pulling me or hitting me, and I'm like, who can I Google? What do I like? I literally am like, this. I'm not. This. Nothing's happening when
It's
I
a
say
lot
it.
sometimes.
What does Tommy do when they do that?
A lot of times he's not there.
Oh,
yeah. Sometimes he is,
okay.
girl. Sometimes he is. Nothing.
Really?
That's a different conversation.
Okay, sorry. Never
No,
mind.
he's fully like, they don't behave this way with me.
So, but if he sees them hit you, he's not just letting them
No,
hit you.
no,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
very like, he'll jump in, and then it's kind of like, to me, that's too much. He'll jump in and it's like, don't hit your mom, and it's like,
Yeah, you
that was a
like.
lot.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So,
I know what
but
you
I'll
mean.
be on, like, I'm not saying there's a
But do
right
they hit
way,
him?
because my babies just be tripping.
Do
Do they hit him? No.
Oh.
And if they even went like this, he would do the same thing. Snatch him up, get in their face, and be like, you don't hit.
Do they listen when he does it?
Yeah. For the most part.
I'm like,
With me, it's like I said nothing. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, my baby told Erica that I was doing too much.
I know that this is not comforting, right?
It's okay. I'll take
I think it sucks. Like, it's just not comforting and it doesn't help. But it is a sign that you are their safest space. Like, children act out the worst in their safest space because they know they're not going to get discarded. Like, and a lot of times that's another thing that we don't think about, is sometimes they deal with different emotions throughout the day, even if it's first thing in the morning. Maybe they're still upset that they had to separate during night, whatever it is. And like, they let it out with us. Like how you just took off your underwear. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, you're uncomfortable.
wait a minute, man.
Oh, sorry.
No, keep it in there. I took my panties
No,
off.
but you know what I mean? Like, they're uncomfortable to the point where you can't focus, and you gotta just get rid of them and release. And until that moment, But where can if you were at the restaurant right now, you wouldn't have been like, hold on before I take my order. Like, I need to go take off my underwear. I'm so uncomfortable. You wouldn't have done that there.
I would have, but
Okay,
I think that's because my mom.
I know what you're saying, though.
Yes, I hear you, but you're right. But it's still rooted in my mom making me feel safe enough to be myself anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's stay here, right? Because I have a problem. I got lots of
Another
problems. Because
problem.
Felicia over there, quiet, like her kids just be perfect. Anyway,
No, they're just trained, okay?
my problem is right in the middle of this, right? I was so committed to, like, I want them to feel comfortable with me at all times. And I want them to have the Ashley Mama effect, right? So as you know, Charisse, and I think you guys too, I started telling them, I love you when you're crying. I love you when you're mad. Like, I always love you no matter what, right? So then they go 2 days later screaming at somebody, either me or Erica or somebody, and be like, Mommy loves me when I'm crying! Like, just going crazy, right? It's okay. And so we then had to, like, explain, like, it's okay to cry. Screaming is different, first of all. But they just would have tantrums and just be like, it's fine because Mommy loves me.
Do you think they're saying it's fine, or do you think they're validating themselves in that moment?
I don't know, girl.
Like, it's okay for me to feel this way. I'm still going to be loved. Because that's a fear, like,
I think
many
it's
of
both.
our generation
I think
grew
it's
up
both.
feeling like if we don't perform or behave a certain way, like, love is very conditional.
No, they say it to me too, though. So, like, they'll be in trouble, for, like,
But they might be
something,
trying to reaffirm it, or
and then they'll
validate it with
say
you,
to
like,
me,
is
"You
this
said
true?
it's okay when I cry," and it's like, it is okay, but, and there's always, like, whatever else you're doing is the problem, and so I'm just torn. I'm like, because some who are aware have tried to make me feel like, well, it's because you told them that it's okay that they're behaving this way, and I don't believe that, but that's where I'm like, I agree with you about the safe space thing, but I'm like, did I make it too safe?
No, what is too safe?
Yeah, I don't think. No,
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Maybe you lack boundaries.
Maybe.
I think there's a difference between safe and I think you and your children lack boundaries.
She said you and them kids.
That's what it sounds like to me. No, because I'm telling you, my mom lacked boundaries with my little brother, and it's still a continuous thing. Because for that very reason, she was very like, he got whoopings and she felt bad, and that's when she started that journey of like really learning more, getting understanding the history of parenting and really changing things with him, and it became the complete opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he feels so safe with her too, but he definitely like boundaries with her.
So I'm that parent that in 15 years is going to show up as me giving them all my money.
It could.
Letting them walk over me. Okay,
absolutely, yes.
Well, what are your boundaries?
Right.
I mean, how do I answer that?
When he hits you, what are your boundaries?
So when he hits me, I will say, I won't let you hit me. Like I'll hold his arms. I will stop doing whatever I'm doing. Let's even, no matter what it is, like, I won't let you hit me. We don't hit.
Hug him after
That's
that?
not acceptable. So here's the other thing my kids will do. Anytime they get in trouble, they want to hug. So
I'll hug a kid no matter what.
Yeah. After they hit you?
Not that.
The hitting is new.
Okay.
So there's not really a hit then hug. Matter of fact, when the hitting happens, it's a long thing. It's whatever is the tantrum is like there's levels to it, and that's that. And here's the other thing. I can't say like you're in timeout. With Brooks, I could be like, go. We had a blue chair, and we'd be like, go to the blue chair, and he would go, or go to your room, and he goes. This baby child,
Brooks is a unique person.
He's a special baby. This baby child, there is no
Brooks
like
been 75 since he was 2.
Basically,
like you can't do that anymore. You need to go to your room. The child be like, no, and then keep moving. Like,
do you leave him then?
Sure, but where do I go?
To a different room, because I feel like sometimes you have to teach. Well, you can. It would be interesting to hear your perspective, but like I feel like with one of my children, I'm not gonna name their name either. They're kind of like that too. Like Amira was the same way as Brooks. I feel like the first child, I don't know, they just different. They just listen different, and
They're the trap baby.
Yeah, they are definitely the trap baby. She didn't even really act that. I never really put her in timeout. She never be in timeout. So the other one, if I tell him go to your room, no.
That is my life.
First of all, you know what I mean? Like, it's my motherfucking house. But I'm like, fine, you don't got to leave, but I will, because what you're not going to do is disrespect me, and I'm not going to be around you. So you want to be here? I'm out, homie.
They will
That's
chase.
a boundary.
I'm not kidding.
That's a boundary.
Yeah.
If you don't
They
do
will
this is what I
chase
will
me.
do.
Okay, well, quit chasing me.
Okay, quit chasing me. No.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely like how
Charisse,
Ashley
I've
is. I'm
sent
like,
you a
bye,
video.
bye. You or like if I'll just say it, my son, if he gets to tripping, I'm always like, bye. You in my space. You're not screaming right here. Not in my space.
Yep.
Bye.
Yeah.
And he will literally walk in the other room.
They
And
won't.
he'll come back. You're always screaming at me. But you're mad at me. And I'm like, Zen.
You look just like him.
That's exactly what he did. And I'm like, and this started happening a week ago. And I'm like, Zen, but why am I mad at you? Why are you getting in trouble? You're just always screaming. But why am I screaming? I don't know. You're mad at me. It's like this back and forth. And I was like, I said, you in my space, you're a little too loud. When you're ready to talk like a big boy, then you can come back in here and we can handle this. He'd be like, he'd come back, okay, mom, I'm ready. And I'm like, oh, you just needed to get your ass up out of here for a second.
Right.
I'm very big on boundaries.
Me too.
Like,
Yeah.
Bye. Just like that.
It might be harder because you haven't started that way. Maybe because we started with the boundaries, it's a little easier to draw them. It's I feel like you can get there, but you're just gonna have to continuously practice it like every single time. Like
I think so. Here's my
reprogramming.
hesitation with saying anything. And I really say
Because
this based
you've
on
seen
my
the
children.
videos.
I have seen the videos, and this isn't necessarily based on the videos. This is actually based on my own experience with my twins, realizing that parenting children who have other things going on, it's the same tools don't work. So boundaries, I've always had boundaries with my children from day one, right? And boundaries are like, this is what I will do.
Yeah.
Not this is what I want you to do.
Yes.
This is what I'm not okay with. This is what I will do if you are not respecting whatever it is. That might be, I'm going to go into my room and close the door. If you know what I mean, I'm going to take you off the couch if you're not willing to get down on yourself. So boundaries are what you're going to do, but they are hard to implement with some children. Like Matilda, I'll go in my room. I actually well, I guess that's debatable. I was going to say I don't let my children in my room because I like it to be my space for me. But they end up sleeping in there every night.
Yeah.
At like 3 a.m, I'll be like, yeah, okay, come on. But I'll go in my room and close the door. And Matilda's the one who sounds like she's going to knock my door down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she doesn't like, even though the boundary's there, she doesn't respect it.
Nope.
And now it's an issue of like,
Don't
you're
break the
about
door.
to tear up my house. And any and all kind of gentle, conscious, all that parenting wants to go right out the window.
Right.
But it is an issue of like, now it's an issue of safety and you tearing up my stuff. And I'm not finna pay a bunch of money to fix this door that you're knocking down. So this isn't going to work. And again, I feel like that goes back to support. And so it sucks if you don't have someone there to support you.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that that's the answer, because it kind of leaves people who don't have support with like, well, shit, what do I do then?
Right.
Because I don't have
A lot of
anyone
times
there.
I'm by myself, so go ahead.
And honestly, like with Matilda, I'm not big on screen time. I'm not big on phones. But for me to still show up as the mom I want to show up as, if she is tearing down my door and I need a moment and you're not respecting me, I may give her the phone. I might say like, I'm going to wait for you to take a breath and show me you're in control of your body. Mm-hmm. I'm going to wait for you to use your powerful voice. And when you're ready, I'm going to give you 10 minutes with the phone because I need a moment. And she can't just like she can get it together. All of a sudden she'll
okay,
mommy?
Okay, I'm ready now.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
They can get it together. It's like sometimes if it's a complete meltdown, they need help. And that's when I will give the hug. Like I give the hug in the sense of like, I realize this is their body. It's not a manipulation. I think maybe sometimes it can be, but I don't think it's always a manipulation of like, I think they legit need you to like calm down their nervous system. And so you got to give them that squeeze. And so I'll give it to them. Almost because I need y'all to calm down.
Okay, well, I have a question too. So when Zen is tripping like that, let's say it's like a whole blow up, and Peace and Zen, so I'm a co-parenting mama, and so they're always together, whether it's at mom's house or at dad's house. And Peace, sometimes she's like, I just need a minute. I see her getting overwhelmed, and I'm like, I know as a mom I'm overwhelmed. You with him more than I'm with him. So it's like, how do you also make it to where when they're tripping and it affects their siblings? So how do you parent that thing, you know?
Explain it. Ashley? You have 4 children.
You know?
You got 6.
How do you teach the other ones to like deal with this one turning up all the time?
Oh, I mean, that happens all the time in our house, especially with Amira. She's 13 and she's like overwhelmed by them, always in her face, always. So I definitely, boundaries, right? Because I feel like I grew up in a big family. I think that's where my parenting comes from too. Like I try to like remember things that I felt as a child. It's 2 things. When you were talking about controlling yourself, I actually remember not being in control of myself, which is very interesting. You know what I mean? I'm a very emotional person, very emotional, very reactionary. And so I definitely remember I was, as a child, like getting upset, crying, even as a teen, and it just like being extended, and my mom being like, "Oh my God, like control yourself."
Like, I can't.
No, I remember the one time my mom was like, "If you don't stop, I'm gonna like get you help because you need to be able to control yourself. Like that's too much. You get way too angry, like very quickly." And so that's when she got me anger management. I had to really learn how to like control the anger inside of me because if you feel out of control, which is why like with your son, he might feel that way too. You know what I mean? Like you want to stop, but you literally cannot. Yeah.
We have a book of emotions and it's like each color. Well, he just started reading it. He just started reading it like yesterday or the day before.
Okay.
But he like, relates to or whatever, he identifies with all of them. Like sometimes he's like, I feel all of them.
That's how it feels.
And so it's good to hear him say that.
Yeah. And
that's
he's gonna have to learn.
Overwhelmed. Yeah. You overwhelmed feeling all the emotions in one moment. That's a lot. And you little, like, how can you deal with all of that by yourself? So I'll be like, yes, you can have the hug.
Right.
Like,
but to answer your question, sorry. I feel like you obviously validate her feelings, right? Which I know you do. Absolutely. Like this is completely normal, but I separate them. That's why I was asking you the other day, like, are they always together? Because it might be good for them to not always be together. Yeah. Like sometimes a weekend with you and he has a weekend with his dad, vice versa. Like it's just healthy and it's hard when you have like you don't have like the biggest house or like extra rooms to go to, you know what I mean? And you have to kind of deal with what you can deal with. But I will separate. I let Amira go in our room all the time, and I'm like, just go in my room because she has to share a room with her sister right now. So I'm just like, go in my room, and she'll just like talk to her friends, and I don't let them go in there. They're like, I want to play with my sister. I'm like, leave her alone. Okay, she needs time to herself, and it's okay. So and I let them know that like we all can have time. I told Zara that the other day, like, baby, I have been with you all day. Like I need a moment to myself. Girl, she walked away for 5 minutes, came back. Did you have your moment yet? Like, oh my God. I've been putting that Google timer on, and now they know. Like, don't talk to me till the timer goes off. Leave me alone.
That's so funny.
Girl.
I do the same
good.
thing. Yeah, I'll separate them and let them have their space and let them communicate to one another that they need it.
Yeah.
Another thing we do is like everybody has their day. So whatever day they were born on, that's their day, and they get to dictate how that day is spent.
That's cute.
So if you're born on the 4th, you get to choose breakfast, lunch, dinner. If it falls on a weekend, you get to pick the weekend activity. If they want to use that day to like stay with my dad that day or my mom that day and have an alone day with somebody, even if it's with mom or dad, they get that day to do that. But that's only once a month. So there are other
So
times.
every month it's that day.
Every month on the
I
day
like
you were
that
born.
a lot.
I'm like, that's really cute. I'm gonna steal that.
It's fun. They be excited. They be like, "Oh, it's my day tomorrow." So they love it. So we do that, and then if they need time, we just give them time. Now ours also like we have 2 to a room, so there's 6. There's 2, 2, and 2. And a lot of times they're not necessarily in the same rooms at the same time. But if somebody needs extra space, we'll give them my room.
Okay,
If I'm going somewhere and I recognize that somebody like needs a break, I'll be like, "You want to come with me?" Or if they ask. So I kind of just try to, I think that's where the conscious part comes in. It's like, I try to just stay listening to what they need and actually believe them and hear them. Like if they tell me I'm tired, I need a break, I'm like, okay, let's get you a break. Rather than just be like, "Girl, you fine.
Yeah.
That's your sister. Go play with her."
I'll be looking at Peace like, look, sometimes I want to tell her, like, girl, just punch him one time. Yeah. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm like, because I feel you. Trust me, baby. I feel you. I feel so bad for her sometimes. He'll just walk up to her and just be like just will punch her. And she's just like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And Peace is so sweet. So I'm like, Zen. But when I look at him, it's like, what? I'm just playing with her.
Yeah.
She's not playing like that.
Yeah. And I'll tell them, I'll be like, look, she's not enjoying that.
Not
She don't want to
cool.
play this right now.
Yeah.
And then I might invite them, the littler ones, I'll be like, come on, let's find something else. Your sister needs a moment. Or like, let's play. You want to come play with me? If I want to play. I don't usually.
I thought I was the only one. I don't like playing, y'all. I'm not playing. I don't want to play. And sometimes I feel like a really bad mom, but I'm like, I don't want to play with you.
No.
So I'm not a bad mom?
No.
Oh, I get to say this out loud. I don't like playing with them kids.
None of us do. But I'll do
a science project.
Yeah.
We can do arts and crafts. I don't want
do field trips, park days,
Yeah.
but like toys. And then y'all dictate and tell me what to say.
See, that's what it is. I really think that's what it is.
They
I'm not
absolutely do.
No, I can't even. Where's the script? At least let me read it. We can't keep.
No, she's not doing that. She just. Oh my God.
When I tell you guys, I don't know why I never thought about this. I felt like such a bad mom. Really? Out of all the things, yes, girl. Because I guess maybe it's a projection. Because when I was younger, I played so much by myself. But then also, I'm like, if my mom was to ever try to play, I'm like, you don't know how to do this right. You know, like my imaginary friends are doing it way better than you, sis. So I felt like, oh, maybe she wants another person, but she don't really be. I was like, Peace, figure it out.
Well, Charisse, we appreciate you for coming to chat with us today.
Yes, very helpful.
This
Yes.
was super
Thank you.
helpful. We need maybe we need like a monthly Charisse.
Yes.
Man, what?
Yes.
I can't
You
wait to
know?
call my baby daddy. Hey, talk to a specialist today on the podcast. She said.
I want to talk about co-parenting though, not even
I do
from
too.
the perspective.
Maybe she should be a part of
like,
that.
Yes.
I would love to, because I think there are so many married women that are co-parenting.
Yes.
Like they're married and in the same house, but
Yeah.
it's a co-parenting situation.
Yes.
And you're on separate pages.
I think you're
So
right.
you might be able to teach.
I think you're right. We even got questions about
They
that
do it.
recently about like, oh, what do you do when you're not aligned with your partner? And at the end of the day, like some people aren't.
Yeah.
And I don't think people talk about that enough. I totally agree.
That's the next episode, y'all.
On the next episode of The Mama's Den.
All right, y'all, tune in to the Mama's Den. And don't forget to listen to Parenting for the Culture, hosted by Charisse Sims. Y'all better like, share, rate, review, ask questions, leave comments, tell a friend, most importantly. Okay, bye.
Bye.